I think undivided attention from men is medicine for women. I feel so seen. I feel noticed. I feel like he's invested in me. It makes me energized. It awakens my passions. Like, it just makes me feel like I can do anything. I've always said this, like 20 minutes of presence from a man is way better than 2 hours of just like sitting next to each other, but no presence. It shocks me, honestly, to this day, every time, how 20, 25 minutes of straight presence from a man is like a game changer. It's as if I like had 10 hours of sleep, had the best massage ever, did all of the self-care rituals, and then I just like had the funnest day of my life, and I just feel completely at ease and at peace. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ancient Intelligence. You've got your host, Anya Shack here. And today I just want to get straight into it. This is an appreciation episode. I want to talk about the 10 things that I really love about men and maleness and masculinity. And it's something that is just very important in this moment. And it's always important to just, yeah, remind each other why we're great and why that matters. And so I actually had support from a man getting to this because this week I just had a more difficult week. I was in Mexico for a vacation, which was very beautiful. Usually my trips are really action packed and like, a million steps a day and cities but this was a really beautiful beach vacation. And I took that time and I didn't record this week's episode before that. And so I was a little nervous, a little stressed, and a little overwhelmed, which is the word women usually go to when they're feeling stressed, because we are not as singular focused as men. So we get overwhelmed much more quickly. And so whenever I feel that, I always want support from a man to help me prioritize, because where I'm at with the overwhelm, I can't see what should come first and what shouldn't come first, and it's so great. So I um, reached out to a good male friend of mine and asked for support with prioritization. And he was like, okay, what can you record that, you can put together relatively quickly and you don't have to do extra research for this week? And I was like, oh, I can talk about all the things I love about men. And here we are. So, I think number one, just taken from that story alone, is prioritization. Like the men's knack for singular focus and the ability to prioritize. It's so, so great. Like I've had a female friend say to me, like, when I need to make a decision, like I'll go ask a man. Because it'll be rational, it'll be clear, it'll be linear, it'll be there's an ability to see the big picture and not get stuck in the minutia, right? And to just kind of A and then B and then C and then D and then you'll get to E. And it's just so helpful. And it feels so nice to get support from men to do that. And so, yeah, number one, prioritization, right? That's number one. And so I'm excited to get into the other nine in no particular order. Okay. So I have some fun notes here that I've put together. I want to get into the next one, which is, the propensity for finding purpose and provision, right? I think there are two things that I've been thinking about recently around masculinity and like what that even is. And I'm starting to really get away from this idea that, masculinity and femininity are these two, ways of being and energies, and we all have them both within us. I actually, I, I don't know about that. I really truly feel that masculinity is in essence like maleness and femininity is in essence femaleness. And there are different ways that men and women do similar things. So, like the idea of nurture, right? We associate it with this feminine way of being. So, like, only women can nurture, or only men in their feminine energy can nurture. I'm not sure about that. I don't think that nurture should be attributed to femininity. I think men can be highly nurturing in their own way, in the way of maleness, right? They are going to be nurturing in a way that's different than a woman would be nurturing. So, I really like that. And so I saw there's a definition on masculinity that I have here. And then I heard a second one this week that I thought was really great. And I'm going to share them both. And I'm so curious what you guys feel is your definition, right? I'm not here to define this. I'm just like here to react to what I feel and what I see. And so there's this American writer named Phil Christman, and he wrote, it's surreal to find maleness described as privilege because it's an aspect of my life I associate mainly with discomfort. When I try to nail down masculinity, it's in all its painstaking stoicism, I come back to this. Masculinity is an abstract range to protect. That's very beautiful and very powerful. But again, it reflects like a self-sacrificing nature, which is so much a part of the male experience in our history, right? Um, for most of our history. And I think that's part of it. So when reading that, I think, okay, that's part of it. But then I heard this really beautiful other definition that I think is the other part of it, that I think is more full and um, just more spirited, and really it it integrates all of the aspects of maleness that are important as opposed to just stoicism or just discipline or just loyalty and honor, but also expression, right? Also the gifts of men. And this idea is that my masculinity, I heard this gentleman say, my masculinity is my ultimate truth and how I express that out into the world. So, like, how I penetrate the world with my ultimate truth and goodness. And I just think that's really powerful because so often I see men kind of following the rules of society and doing this and going to school for this and doing, the accounting thing and, doing all of these steps to find success. But there's this missing satisfaction. And I think what's really truly missing is like his ultimate truth, right? His ultimate truth that exists. I think about someone that represents doing that in a really profound way. And this might seem a little silly, but Andrew Schultz, the comedian Andrew Schultz, if you've ever heard him speak, if you've ever heard him talk about his father, he has this incredible reverence for his father. And it's very clear that his father was both strong and disciplined and present, and also nurturing and supportive and expressive with him. So thanks to his father's belief in him, he didn't just say, okay, well, I need to go be successful, so I'm going to figure out what I should do to be successful. He said, who am I though? Who am I? And how do I express that and penetrate the world with that? And for him, it's like, well, I'm a comedian, right? I am someone that does this. This is who I am. And so I think that's super, super important um, for men to not miss, right? Because it's such a huge part of who we all are, right? What is our truth? What is our truth? And how can I express that into the world? And so with that, I think that number two, okay, so prioritization number one, number two is this like propensity for purpose and provision. So, wanting to find that thing that I can, wanting to find my gift and then make the world a better place with them, right? And I was speaking to a female friend once, and we were talking about, this can be different at different levels for men based on their age, right? So if you imagine like a young boy, right? He wants to, do his homework well, make his mother happy, right? He's providing in that way. He's that's his purpose, right? And then it's like taking my, high school sweetheart out so that she can experience something that she couldn't experience without me, right? I'm providing. I'm creating purpose. And then it becomes deeper than that, right? So we're doing things for others, and then it's like, okay, what are my gifts and how can I provide for my neighborhood? How can I provide for my children? How can I provide for, it can keep going and going as the man expands into his gifts. And so this like desire for expansion and to awaken his gift is so, so powerful. And I think when that's first in a man's life, it's so, so attractive, right? It's so, so attractive. So many men fall into the people please category because they don't have that drive or they haven't awakened it yet. And that's why there's so many issues within their lives, right? So that propensity for goodness out in the world, to penetrate the world with my truth. I love that. So that's number two. Number three, The primal nature of men. I love this. This is so just beautiful. Let me find this like sheet where I wrote this. Yeah, just how like men, that intergroup camaraderie, that primal nature of men when y'all like come together and like you put away your differences. This is actually something so cool about men that in this day and age, in this modern moment, women don't really have access to. I imagine in tribal times and different circumstances, women might have had more access to this as well. But this idea of putting away our differences for the common good. It's like, I love when men, they're not shy about not liking someone or they're not going to pretend like they like someone if they don't. I've heard, men say, hey, I don't really like you, but like we're here, let's get this done, and then we can go our separate ways. There's this like drive to do good and to win and to, be in this kind of like group dynamic and like beat the out group. And nothing will get in the way of that. No internal squabbles will get in the way of that. Whereas sometimes women can be like their own greatest downfall in that, hey, we have a job to do, but we have these internal squabbles that are keeping us from putting away our differences and just like making something happen together right now. I think men are amazing at that. It's so awesome. Like it's so, so cool. The male masculine drama is just quick and direct and easy and like let's get this over with and then move on. I love that. So that's number three, the primal nature of men. I love that. So then number four is accountability. I love the accountability that men have. I've talked about this before, but I just know that it's highly linked to testosterone, and it's really, really powerful in that, even if something gets boring, even if something is frustrating, even if something is really annoying, men will not quit. Men will keep going. Men will finish the job. Like so much has been completed thanks to male accountability. And like I think I've shared this example before, but it's just, again, these are average differences. These are not absolute differences. So I learn a lot from the masculine relationship to accountability. I learn a lot about that. It's where I'm at in this moment. Like I put out an episode every single week, and even though things were more difficult this week and I had to spin more plates and I was away and it was more difficult, but I'm here anyway, and it's really thanks to the way men relate to accountability. And it's so cool. I love that. This example that I shared is I was doing like some sort of fitness challenge at some gym I was at, and there was this like relay race kind of group thing, and men and women together, and there were a lot of like obstacles to complete, and there was just it ended up being longer than anticipated, and it was like an hour and 15 minutes into this like running and biking and relay and burpees and all this stuff, which I love all that stuff by the way, but at a certain point, the women were just like, I'm out, right? The women were just hanging out and just like they're done. But the men were like, well, we have to finish this no matter what, no matter how long it takes, no matter how annoying this is, no matter how I thought this would be an hour long, but it's coming on 2 hours, but we're still here. And it's just so powerful. God, I love that about maleness and men, and it's so cool. Okay, number five. So number five, builder, right? It's so fun to like watch. One of my friends was talking about like, when she witnessed like a delay in her flight at some point, and she just like saw a whole bunch of guys kind of like get up and look over and see each other, and all these dads and men were just like, so what do you think they're fixing? What do you think could be wrong? And it goes back to this huge difference between one of the biggest sex differences, recorded between men and women is women have a propensity towards people and towards doing things that relate to people, whereas men have a propensity towards things. You see it even in infants. It's not socialized. This is an infant. It's something infants are born with, and that girls first see faces when they start to become aware, whereas men first see the environment and they see objects. And it's so cool. Men just like love building and thinking about things and engines and how things work. And, again, I've said this a million times, like the lack of appreciation for every single thing that we are in, every house we're in, every school we're in, every building we're in. it's all been built by men and their propensity to build. And they're just so they have just such an incredible knack for that and desire to get things done in that way and get geek out over like engines and um, all of that stuff. It's just so cool, and it just goes back to men being really in relationship to what's real, what's tangible, how things work, and it's just a really really powerful thing about men. Okay, so that was five. Now we're going to get into six, which is directness. One of the coolest things about men, right? The directness of be ready by 7 p.m. I'll be there at this time. Straight up to the point. No nonsense. Just calm, cool, collected, direct. I think it's so powerful, right? And to just cut through the bullshit, I think is really great. One of the most like memorable things, I guess, just a great example of this. So I was in my overwhelmed state, in that state that women love to get into, and it's just really easy to get into that as women because we have our diffuse focus and things are calling us at one time, and we have a hard time prioritizing. We do our best, but we I know men are better at this than us. So why not like ask for help, right? Ask men to help us. I remember being in my overwhelmed state and not sure about this and kind of just in my head and spinning a little bit. And a friend that I have was like, "Hey, you need to go to the gym. Like, I'm not going anywhere with you until you go to the gym." It was like so direct and so clear, and it was like, yeah, he was just like directing me in different ways. And it's like, it's so powerful because I think what happens for women is women can get really stuck. And I've heard women say this before, like in conversations with other women, they're so enriching and so they give us so much, but we're not going anywhere in those conversations. We're just in it. And that's why men and women are different, right? Men take us places, right? Whereas women take us inside of ourselves, which we need both in life. We need both. And that's why we're meant to be partners, right? We're meant to appreciate things about each other. And, it's that beautiful thing of like a man taking care of a woman's environment and a woman's world outside of herself to make her safe, whereas a woman taking care of a man's inside world, right? Making him feel safe and trustworthy and trusting. And that's something that's so, so key. And I know that's missing in a lot of our dynamics right now, but it's something that I really think is beautiful and important. So, okay, the directness. Going along with that, going along with like helping a man trust and taking care of a man's inner world, when that is there, one of the best things, one of the funnest things that I love about men is like men's innocence and just that like purity of spirit and just like when the little boy comes out and he's just kind of like in awe of the world and he's like so excited about life. And one of the funnest ways that I've seen this happen with men is they don't like put up a front around like new friends or new acquaintances. I feel like with women sometimes we're a little cautious, like, hey, I met this new woman, she's great, but like we'll see how this kind of builds. Whereas I've heard men be like, oh my God, I met this guy, he's so cool and he does this and he does that and we're gonna have lunch next week and he's gonna take me to his hangar and show me his whatever, his airplane engines, making that up. But there's like this innocence. And I feel like when a woman can be a safe space for a man's inner world, it's like all his innocence and spirit comes out and his vitality and vibrance and his giddiness. And he starts to make jokes and have fun and be lighthearted. And it's so fun to watch a man be so just like purely innocent about friendship, about fun and jokes. And yeah, it's just it's really cool. I love that. So innocence. The next one is care. So I wrote about this a little bit. I just know that men want the people in their lives to be happy and they want to be responsible for that happiness. And it's just so interesting. I've heard so many men, ask like what do you want most in your relationship? Like what's most important to you? Like, well, I just want my wife to be happy. I just want my girlfriend to be happy. And it's like there's such a deep care and desire to care for the people that a man loves, his inner circle, and also like as he expands in his gifts and his capacity to give, also for the world and for the community. There's just such strong care. And it's like when back in the day, when things weren't so subsidized by the government, like there was a lot more freedom and there was just like a lot less control of the government. You would hear things like in a neighborhood, someone's house burned down, and then all the men in the neighborhood are like, all right, let's get together, let's rebuild this person's house. And they would all just band together out of like the care and like love and devotion to their community, to their fellow brother, to the kids, the wives, like everyone. Men just like care so much and they will take action. They will show their care through action. And it's the simple, that's like a bigger way to show action, of course. But then there's like getting on the side of the side of the street where the cars are coming with women, right? Offering to put suitcases in the overhead compartments. Just this like deep care that men have in the world. And it's something that's very, very special. Men are quite selfless in so many ways. And um, it's just so it's such a shame that we don't honor that about men and help them uh build it out and help them kind of like you know uh evolve that and help them be in that. And just it's such a shame, right? Like we ignore it. And so one thing I know about men is like when you tell a man what you think he is, he's going to be exactly what that is. He's like, you're you're a selfish jerk. Okay, great, I'm not going to do anything right now, as opposed to like we see how selfless and caring you are. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm here for to support you. And it's like, it's just so obvious to me. But yeah, I love that. The care and the chivalry that men have in a way that is so unique to men. It's so, so powerful. Their usefulness and their ability to utilize the gifts that they have to support people. So care. I already covered prioritization. I already covered innocence. Next ones are the last two. Yeah, last two are physicality. So physicality is a big one. It's so attractive. The physical, like the expression of maleness and masculinity within the physical, right? Like men doing physical activities, men doing sports, men putting up a shelf, men, competing, right? They're bringing forth their aggression. Their aggression is like, I hate that aggression is a bad word in our society. It's such a good word. Aggression means, it comes from the Latin aggresso, which means to propel forward, to move forward. And it's like, a foundational tenet of maleness is like to penetrate the world with goodness, to push forward, to propel forward, to exert your will over the world in this benevolent way, right? I know that it can go dark and it can go bad. We're not talking about the dark side right now. We're talking about the mature masculine way of life, right? The mature masculine approach to life, which is so good and so needed. And so right? Like this dedication and determination. It's like that's masculine expression, right? We always say like, oh, men, we need men to express themselves. We need to men to express themselves. This is how men express themselves. Let's cheer it on. Let's root for it. Like this is it. It's this instinctual kind of brotherhood that I was talking about a little before. Just male physicality is so, so important. And that's why, I feel like on an instinctual level, there's kind of like this brotherhood physical nature, like let's compete with each other, let's sharpen each other up so that we can hunt the animal, right, in hunter gatherer speak, or we can defeat the enemy in battle, right? It's this like let's get stronger together through our physicality. It's why it's like men working out together at the gym. It's just like men together with each other and doing physical things. It's so special, and it's something that makes men better. And when men are better, we're better. When men do good, like the world is good. And um, men do good when we show them how much they matter. And so I think that's beautiful. Finally, presence. This is one of my favorite ones. It's just like it's amazing. I think that like presence, masculine presence is the same as for women. It does for women what a female like muse has done for men in the past, right? Men have had muses so that they could, develop their creativity and their expression and their creation, right? In their writing or in their art and whatever. I think I think women just masculine presence, it's so powerful and it's so simple and it's so lacking in the world. Honestly, I only see it sometimes from like boomers and older, because they still remember what it's like to not have their devices on a regular basis. So I think like when a man puts away all his devices and he's just talking to me and he's with me and he's there and he's just giving me his undivided attention, I think undivided attention from men is medicine for women. It's just medicine for women. I feel so seen. Like I feel like I feel noticed. I feel like he's invested in me. I think it makes me energized in my life. It awakens my passions. Yes, it does all that. It does all that. Like it just makes me feel like I can do anything. And it's very, very powerful. I've always said this, like 20 minutes of presence from a man is way better than 2 hours of just like sitting next to each other, but no presence, right? It's, women are really looking for that from men. And it just makes, it's wonderful. It shocks me, honestly, to this day, every time how 20-25 minutes of straight presence from a man is like a game changer. It's as if I like, you know, had 10 hours of sleep, had the best massage ever, like did all of the like self-care rituals, and then I just like had the funnest day of my life and I just feel completely at ease and at peace. That's what 25 minutes of straight presence from a man can do. And it's just really powerful. Men have this special knack for um, providing like that inspiration through their presence alone. And I know it's so hard for men to get. It's like, I know you guys think like you have to be doing something always to have value, and that's just not true. Your presence is so valuable in and of itself. So, those are the 10 things: purpose and provision, right? The accountability and that unique accountability, the primal nature, the building nature, the directness, the care y'all have, the prioritization, the innocence you have when you trust the people around you, the physicality of your maleness, right? And the presence. So hope y'all have enjoyed this one, and until the next one. Hello, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm so happy to be here bringing my wisdom, my truths, all the research I do into pop culture and evolutionary psych and beyond to bring men and women the information that we all need to know to find that ultimate harmony with each other. This is the mission. This is why I'm here. This is what I believe in. So if you found value in what I'm doing here, please help me grow the podcast. And you can do one of two things. Either share the episode with a friend or leave me a review on Spotify or Apple. This will help me so much. Until next time.